man. Happy hump day, man. Welcome back. We jumping back in the saddle. Got my man with the master plan, Scott Cloven. Brother, it's been a
Yeah.
few weeks,
Yep.
couple minutes have passed, man. But great to see
Mhm.
you. Good to see you doing well. Glad to
Yeah.
see you on the screen, brother. How's everything?
I'm blessed, man. Great to see you too. 2025 has been a blessing. A lot to look forward to, man, and just looking forward to continuing to put out some great content with Dreams Podcast and create memories with you.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Same here, man. I'm just like you say, blessed, highly favored. We took a
Hmm.
little break, man, to
Yeah.
get right back in the frame of mind, but also, prepare for this, this next run that we're about to jump into, man. So for me, just gonna be great catching up with you. It's gonna be great, talking about a few subjects. But beforehand, I know you and I spoke prior to this, and we want to give some condolences to a few people,
Hmm.
people that were near and dear to us,
Hmm.
also people we may not have crossed paths with, but yet and still, due to the tragedies, due to some of the things that have transpired, man, um, we want to give our condolences to one of our fallen classmates, alumni members, Hall of Fame member as well, Mr. Sean Wallace, former
Hmm.
coach of Southern University,
Hmm.
played at Southern University, played safety, was in the SWAC realm of greatness as far as, his play, his mentorship, his coaching abilities, man. So we wanted to make sure that we gave condolences to him and his family.
Hmm.
Rest in heaven, man. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely, man. Man, I remember, watching Sean Wallace play, at Southern University. And right from the start, number 25 just jumped out. Just always all over the field, played with um, great passion. Um, just a playmaker, and just always had a genuine love for his teammates, uh, and just a good guy. Um, I think when he was younger, a little misunderstood. Obviously, when you come up in New Orleans, uh, in a kind of rough environment, you're going to be a little rough around the edges. But I was just amazed of the man he became. He was a man of God, a family man, raised a beautiful family, uh, and he had two kids, and his son actually, Abraham Wallace, went on to play college football. He had a short stint with the Buffalo Bills. So that just kind of go to show you, man, what the type of man he is and the man he was, how he was able to develop such you know a great young man, and his son, and his I was his daughter as well. But just yeah, man, that was a tough one, because he was a Southern University, Louisiana legend.
absolutely.
Truly, yeah. So yeah, man, definitely condolences to his family for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we'll continue on this, for a little bit, just to touch base. We want to also give condolences to the young man, another Southern, attendee, and the young man who was unfortunate. Um, Not sure what happened, so I can't really speak on what happened, but it hit the
Mhm.
media, and being a Southern alum, it tugs at your heart because you never want your child to be in that situation. But the young man, Mr. Caleb Wilson, who
Mhm.
passed away while he was
Mhm.
pledging, I don't really have a lot of detail on it, only what the
Mhm.
media said. I don't really
Mhm.
like to speak on things like that because if I'm not
Mhm.
there, I don't want
Mhm.
to put any negative rhetoric out there. I don't want to put any negative, connotations or anything, because
Mhm.
for those who were there, they're suffering as well.
Yeah.
It's been all families affected by the event. So I
Mhm.
want to give my condolences to his family as well.
Yeah, no, man, I think it's a very, I mean, an extremely sad situation. When your child goes off to college and everyone's excited for this, young man's future, and imagine getting a phone call. Imagine his parents getting that phone call. Like that's, I man, I can't even begin to imagine uh getting that phone call. Just definitely, but it's, you know what, when you have a situation like this, you try to look for the good in everything, and I think it'll definitely shed some light on individuals pledging, um, to get involved with various fraternities, and I'm pretty sure it'll change forever in terms of what it takes to become a part of a fraternity, and I'm pretty sure people will alter what they're putting these young men and young women through, to be a part of their fraternity and brotherhood. Uh, and so again, condolences to his family, but hopefully moving forward, people will adjust what they're doing when it comes to pledging, and not doing things in such a harsh way, right? So yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, we got one more, man. One of our, um, I mean, as far as I can remember,
Mhm.
the man with the $1 million smile. He's
Mhm.
created grills. He's created, oak team businesses, man. But the late great George Foreman, former
Mhm.
heavyweight champion,
Mhm.
just a record setter, was the oldest heavyweight champion ever to hold the belt.
Mhm.
He also passed away this past week, man. So once again, condolences to him and his family. Like I said, the
Mhm.
Texas legend, business, conglomerate, man. So I want to give condolences to
Mhm.
him and his family as well.
Yeah, George Foreman, man, was just truly special. When you look at what he did, um, taking out Joe Frazier at the time, which everybody thought it wasn't possible. And obviously, everyone knows about the fight with he and Muhammad Ali. Um, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was probably the first fight that was held in Africa, right? It was legendary. It was a great fight by two great warriors. And the thing is, stood out with George Foreman was just, I never seen him upset, man. He just always happy, and people don't. I think when you realize what he did to become world champion, I believe at like 24 years old, and have that run, and to come back in his 40s, in his mid 40s, that's crazy. And he was, he's a big guy, right? And so when he came back, when he started training, he was well over 300 pounds. So to put your body, imagine this, imagine that, like us at our age, putting our bodies through what we did in our 20s. Man, sometimes, and I work out quite a bit, but I know, like, sometimes I'm working out and I'm like, man, my whole workout, that used to be my warm up, right? And so I just, to here again, to what he did to come back in his mid 40s, and win a heavyweight championship again. And then, everybody, I think this generation knows him more for, his him being an entrepreneur, and the George Foreman grill. I lived off that thing. I think everyone can relate to that. I remember the first time I used it, I was playing with the Washington Redskins, Washington Commanders now. And I'm not a big cook, like yourself. and I just, but it was, man, I remember using that thing, man, putting the meat on that grill. And I still to this day don't know how the meat was so juicy still. That was the thing I was surprised about, man. And it was done in 5 minutes. That was a great invention, man. I tell you, yeah,
Oh,
I
George.
oh joy, yeah, I lived off, man. Yeah, that's all I ate was chicken,
I still got
chicken
one.
right, chicken right. Yeah, I kind of get one. I had one somewhere around here, but
Yeah.
chicken, but yeah, man, I used to live chicken. You could put steak on there. Uh, 5 minutes, it was done,
Yep.
pretty much. Yeah, and it was juicy.
Yep.
Like, it was crazy, man. Great invention, and man, much respect to him and his team for here again, just being trendsetters, and condolences to his family, man. Great, 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 great man, and legend in the boxing world.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And we want to keep that rolling, man, because another thing with Southern University, we want to give a shout outs to the
Hmm.
women's basketball team. Southern
Hmm.
University's women's basketball team, they did, make it to the tournament, NCAA tournament, first time in school history, and they
Hmm.
defeated UC San Diego. in the
Yeah.
first round. Went on to play UCLA. UCLA got the best of us. But man, just to have that opportunity to be on
Hmm.
the big stage, to play in front of the millions of fans, the million
Hmm.
of supporters, and the way women's sports are going, man, it's astronomical. It is
Yep.
becoming astronomical, man. So shout out to the staff, players, and also the alma mater of Southern University women's basketball team.
Definitely. Definitely. And you know what? I think the easiest way to explain this is like, what these young women accomplished to go out and win a game in the NCAA tournament. The easiest way I can explain this is like taking a knife to a gunfight. The resources that these athletes have at Southern University compared to these Power Five, um, universities is just obviously it's not a fair fight. So anytime they step in the arena, against these other schools who have here again, you know, just a great deal of assets and funds and like they say, money. Money is power in some cases, and it is what it is, right? And so when they have all the right they have nutritionists, they have you look at their weight rooms in these Power Five schools, and just here again, all the resources they have is just amazing compared to what these kids have at Southern University. It's not even fair. It's not even close. And so for them to get in there and actually and win a game in the tournament, that's huge. It's they made history. So congratulations to those young ladies.
Absolutely. I totally
Hmm.
agree, man. Totally agree. And you hit it on the head. It's the resources, it's the
Hmm.
recruiting, it's the budget. At the bottom
Hmm.
line, it's the budget, man. Because you can go
100%.
out here, you can go out there and you can do as well as you can, but
Hmm.
hey,
Hmm.
it's Jimmy's and Joe's, Doc. We're gonna have
Yeah,
Jimmy's
for
and
sure.
Joe's.
At the end of the
Hey,
day,
yeah.
I mean, even the athletes, it's like what we got going on today. It's like if I can go to Southern University, they're gonna give me a scholar. They'll give me a scholarship. I'm sure this day and age, they probably getting a few bucks, you know, a month or something. I don't know. I really don't know the details of what they have going on. But I'm sure it's not like when we were going when you had to live off that Pell Grant or something, But these people at these kids at the Power Five schools, man, like just to put it in perspective, you know, a guy at playing for LSU is he's making minimum. I think they said probably about 70 grand a year. That's a kid that's not even playing. He on the bench because they have the collective. That's what some people just thinking it's just NIL. So when you have a strong booster, a booster club, and these guys are you got tons of millionaires, and you're gonna have maybe have a couple billionaires, and they have that collective, and they say, hey, you come here, minimum you're gonna make $80,000 a year before we even get to the NIL stuff.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then obviously the NIL stuff is for uh, the more celebrated players. I mean, I think I seen I think the most I seen so far was it was a gymnast from LSU. Uh, was it Levy Dunn? Is her name? Yeah, she made like 9 million. You know, it's crazy.
Wow.
9 million. Yeah, and so these. I mean, I think this day and age, man, you can be an average football player, and if you play your cards right, you can leave college, with at least six figures in your bank account.
Easy.
So easy, easy.
Yeah.
So it's you know, yeah. Congratulations to the generation today, boy. I know we always, boy.
Man,
That
oh
definitely, oh
man.
man, yeah, that would have been all right right there. Because we
That would
was
have been,
boy, we
yes.
left out of yeah, we left out of there, boy, with two nickels to rub,
Hey, lint in my pocket, brother. Lint in my
nothing.
pocket. That's it. Fill in my pocket.
Yeah,
Go in there and fill in my leg. That's all I
yeah,
had. So totally
yeah,
understand.
yeah. Yep, yeah, man. Shoots. Yeah, no, man. It's like I said. It's just hats off to those young women for going in and putting in that type of work. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, man, now that we have our introductions out of the way, man, like I said, we want to jump into this, man. And the biggest thing for me, Scott, I want to say thank you for, that first run.
Hmm.
We shot, like you say, 17 episodes, man. We got a pretty good following, behind us. Since then we just been, collaborating, speaking about, this next run. So we're here, man. We are here, and I'm excited about it. And
Hmm.
for the most part, it's just continuing what we've been doing,
Hmm.
better stories, and more content, reaching more, and hopefully helping more,
Hmm.
in the community, and in whatever, aspect that we see fit, that can be, for the people who are becoming our listeners, becoming our followers, and to be continue to support us through this endeavor. So that's what I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. No, it's, man, it was our first season, was exciting. We're going into season two. Um, I think we exceeded um expectations. Um, I definitely exceeded my expectations. Because coming to this thing, I really didn't know what to expect and had never done anything like this. And it's amazing how many people you can help by talking
Absolutely.
about various subjects. And I think that's the thing is, yeah, we're two ex-professional athletes. Um, but I think the thing that people appreciate about our show, and the feedback I've gotten just from walking in the streets, and people say, "Oh man, when is the next episode?" They really love the topics the things we talk about. And I think we're really we're able to really help people and relate to different types of people, man. And I'm just excited to continue to do that and see what season two takes us. So
Absolutely.
I'm extremely pumped, man.
Absolutely, man. And thank you for that, man. And I think you hit something in your passage, what you just stated. I think the biggest thing also is us taking that break. We needed a mental break as well, getting back,
Mhm.
in the right frame of mind, making sure we're on camera, delivering the proper energy,
Mhm.
displaying, if I'm being honest, just the things that want people to join us. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They make
Mhm.
them want to join us. You can't. I know it's a lot of times people think this is just get on here and talk. It's really, really not. It's
No.
really, really not. You got to have the
Mhm.
right frame of mind. You got to possess the proper energy. You got to, you got to basically protrude, your energy through this lens, man. And so we hope it is becoming infectious. And I am grateful for the time that we had to, reset, refocus, and do the things that we find purposeful. So, man, I'm
Mhm.
excited. I really am.
Mhm.
Really am.
Mhm. Yeah, no, energy is everything. I always say, when I meet someone, I'm big on the energy I get, you know, and it's no different from, people see, our energy on camera and the genuine love and admiration we have for one another. I want to see you win, you want to see me win. There's no egos. And that was one of the big things why, we chose each other to do this, because that's our relationship has always been that, a genuine love for each other and want to see each other win. And so, but yeah, man, it's energy, man. If your energy's not right and where you need to be, and you're not in the right mental headspace, it can, things doesn't line up correctly the way they need to. And so I think, I can already tell just, our energy right now is back, it's where it needs to be. And everyone needs to take a reset every now and then, and just, you know recoup and get yourself back in the right frame of mind. So yeah, man, it's definitely looking forward to putting out some great content.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that kind of leads up into what we say we're going to speak about today, man. With
Mhm.
the um, having the right frame of mind, being in the right places, and
Mhm.
being around the right people.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
with that, we spoke. Our topic today would be environment. We were going to
Mhm.
be big on environment, and just imagine
Mhm.
if neither you or I had the
Mhm.
opportunity to reset, to
Mhm.
retool, to
Mhm.
refocus, and you're just going, 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 which many people are doing on a daily
Mhm.
basis.
Yeah.
But I just want to say I thank you. I thank my community as well for understanding like, hey man, I got to take a break. I
Yeah.
got to take a break, and just
Mhm.
being able to voice that openly, being vulnerable. And as you say, just really having the understanding to say, hey,
Mhm.
let's I don't like to use this word, so I'm gonna say something else. I was gonna say take a pause, but I
Mhm.
don't everybody be like pause. I'd be like, we're gonna take
Yeah.
a break. I don't know
Uh,
what that means, man. I don't
I'm
know.
about to say, I'm
I
about to
don't
ask
know.
you.
I don't know.
I see certain individuals, they'll be talking,
Pause. What are you talking
and
about?
the thing is, like, I've never really been. I think, and you're similar as well. I've never been a follower of trends. If I like it, I like it, and if I don't, I don't. If I don't understand it, I mean, it is what it is, and
Right.
so I don't and maybe I got to get somebody to add to help me out. It's like here again, they're talking, and then there's like pause in the middle of the conversation, and I'm like, what purpose does this serve? But I, mean, I don't know. I gotta. That's gonna be. I'm gonna check this out this week actually, and find out. I think, and then like like the new term now, um, and everybody uses. It's not even a young person's thing. People were like, they'll be talking. They'll be like, oh man, that's cap. I just can't. Which I know it means like you're lying.
Right. I'm just gonna say you're lying.
I can't
I,
right
I
now. I
I'm too
can't.
old for that, man.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't have to, I'm not saying that.
I'm
Oh
not.
man,
I'm
that's
not.
cap.
I'm.
Like
Hey, man, you
I
lied.
just.
Or
That's it.
you just get
That's
exit stage left. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
all that
yeah,
trends, these word is this.
yeah.
That just ain't my thing either, man.
No,
I don't subscribe to it. I don't knock it. That's just
no,
not a part of my vocabulary. I would say that.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think I'm just obviously there's a different lingo and way I would talk to you we're just like having a private conversation versus
Right.
being in the boardroom. And I just man, like I don't know, for me I'm very conscious of way I the words I use, because in the way I speak, even in my private conversations, because that could carry over in the boardroom. You see
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Slip up. You done said some foolishness. They look at you
Yeah.
like you
Yep.
out of pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I just here again. I already, when I walk in the boardroom, I'm the only one of color, or of my nationality. It is
Right.
what it is.
Right.
I got diamond earrings on, so you know, I have to at least I gotta speak the part.
And you're not an average size citizen.
No, no,
That's the
yeah, for sure.
thing. So you
Hmm.
talking about somebody almost 6'4", 220 pounds or whatever, not a bad looking dude. You come in there and it's kind of like, now you
Hmm.
talking crazy? They don't want to
Yeah, I know. No, no, no,
know.
no. I got it. Yeah, no. I think one of the things I enjoy the most is when uh after a person gets to know me, especially in the boardrooms, and I got my suit on, and they ask me, oh, where you from, after they've gotten to know me a little bit, and I tell them, oh, Compton, California. They're like, really? People are shocked, and I take that as a compliment, because
Absolutely.
I remember I never forget when I was playing in the NFL with the Redskins. One of our it was a coach came up to me and he said, where you from? I said, from LA. He said, oh, really? He said, you don't seem like you're from LA. I said, what do you mean? He said, and this is a Southern guy. He said, you're very polite, and you're a gentleman. I thought you were from the South, because he said, no offense, most guys from LA's are a-holes that I've ran
Hmm.
across. And I was like, guys from LA can come off as kind of not loud, but just flashy. Um, and I said, well, I went to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I spent a lot of time in Louisiana. My dad's from Louisiana, so I spent a lot of time down. He said, oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I said, okay. So people, it's strange. Yeah, people, they can see a little bit of the California, but most of the time people think I'm from the South.
Right. But
Yeah.
it's crazy. Once again, environment.
Environment. There you go.
Environment,
Yeah,
environment.
100%.
You straight, and a lot of, like you said, a lot of people don't know. I know because we've been friends for years, but you straight from Compton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm not the smartest guy, but I'm not the dumbest. But it
Mm-hmm.
ain't a whole lot of factory in boardrooms in
Mm-hmm.
Compton.
No, no,
You know what
no.
I'm
I
saying?
100%, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it just it's something I've done, interviews or just conversations, and I talk about this is just um like we talking about environment is just the difference in how, and I tell people I'm a totally different person than what I was growing up. I
absolutely.
had to conduct myself in a certain way because I was in a certain environment. And I think the easiest way to explain it without going into any details, like true details, is just, you know, I always say I was an alley cat, so to speak. You take, I had to, you had to survive, right? And you had to conduct yourself in a certain way. You got to be more aggressive because you're in an aggressive environment. But then the tough thing is once you go into a different environment, when I went to college, is adjusting and saying, okay, I don't have to conduct myself this way here. I don't have to solve every issue with violence. I can
Right,
sit down and have a conversation.
right,
And then as I begin to travel, playing professional football and traveling more, my mind began to open up, and I begin to see, you know, when I went to Europe, when I went to NFL Europe, and I was in Germany for 5 months, got a chance to go to Barcelona, Spain, and you know, Scotland, Amsterdam, and I was talking about this the other day. It's just I was in the Netherlands, and that was the first time I've seen people just. I was at a nightclub, and it was the first time I seen people just party free and have a good time. And I would say that was the first time I had a great time in a non hip hop environment, so to speak. And I had a great time, and it really changed my life in terms of being more open minded, and because where we come from, man, every party there's a fight. You already know it's a fight breaking out. And they're gonna start shooting. It's about a 90% chance. So imagine living like that,
every
right?
time.
Every time something gonna go down, you like, dang man, here we go again, right?
Yep.
And so you go out, you get ready to go out,
You don't think
man.
about it though. I
Mm-mm.
mean, you don't think about it. I know I didn't.
No, no, no.
Very similar situations growing up in Winston-Salem, man. It was at one point Winston was a murder capital of the world. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of like, and I lived in every project. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally every project. And like you said, it's like I didn't, oh man, it's just like you said, without getting into details, you don't even really understand
Mm-hmm.
the layers you have to
Mm-hmm.
go through to get to the
Mm-hmm.
point you're speaking of. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
Because me, it's like when I got to college, I was very standoffish. I didn't talk
Mm-hmm.
to nobody. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really deal with nobody. I ain't hang out with a crowd of people because where I'm from, that caused trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hostility was communication, if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
honest. And as I'm older now, I see how someone can be angry. I
Mm-hmm.
see how one thing can affect everything. I see how, like you said, the environment can push you to a limit that some people may not understand why, but it's real. It is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely real. And if you're in those environments, you're looking over your shoulder, you got to watch who coming, you got to watch what you're doing, you got to watch where you're going. That's draining.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
It's
no,
draining.
for sure.
It's
Yeah,
draining.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's like for people who didn't grow up in those environments. I mean, I don't. I mean, get me wrong. It's made me who I am. It's made you who you are.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't change anything. But you know, that's how we grow up, not trusting people
Yeah.
because you can't. And imagine, here again, just you can't just like where I'm at in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. A person can just walk. They'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to the store." I can just walk to the store freely. They can walk in different neighborhoods, and nobody will bother them. You know, and where we're from, you can't just walk in nobody's neighborhood. You have to stay in
You
your
better be ready to get
area.
down.
If you walk into if somebody came into our neighborhood and we didn't know you, it was gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
That's just what it was, right? And so imagine living like that, not being able to walk the streets freely,
Yeah.
and not knowing, you know, when you see. I remember Nipsey Hussle said something. He said, um, when he said, imagine, he said, when you have a gang member, I'm talking about Crips and Bloods,
Hmm.
and you have a gang member, and they're going out on a mission, to look for the enemy, so to speak, and a guy they can be driving, and they're looking for the enemy, and they see a guy with a suit on.
Yep.
It may be no, forget the color. It could be a white guy. Let's just say white guy. It could be whatever, Hispanic, black, but he got a suit on. He looks professional. They're not gonna bother him.
They
They're
looking for the
looking
body
for
look like
and
them.
just look like them.
Yep.
And so, I was like, man, that is so deep.
It's
He said, "You looking for yourself to
exactly.
kill yourself."
Yep. And that was so
Crazy, man.
powerful because I heard the same exact thing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
so true, man. I remember like growing up, because back home, man, it was Boston Projects, it was Happy Hill Project, it was Cleveland Projects, it was Piedmont Circle. It was just, that was my environment. But I lived in Boston, lived in Happy Hill. Only housing development I didn't stay in was in, it was called Piedmont Circle.
Mm-hmm.
Never stayed there, but I had friends who lived there. And the crazy part about it, I remember, man, being in Boston, we go to the skate rink. That was our thing on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
we used to do that too.
at,
Skate
at,
ring.
at
Yeah.
12 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
this at 11:30, everybody had to take their skates off. We
Mm-hmm.
knew what was about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
11:30, everybody go to the middle of the skating ring because that's where we would break dance and
Mm-hmm.
compete and all that. But it's a
Mm-hmm.
fight. It's a
Somebody gonna go
fight
bad.
every Saturday. It
Yep.
was just, I don't know why. That was, I guess, a lot of young people with a lot of testosterone and whatever built up, and it was normal.
Because that's the environment we grew up in,
It was
right?
normal.
I always tell
Yeah.
people when I was like, from the age of 5, 6 years old, you know, I always wanted to run with my brother. My brother's 6 years older than me, and like they were like, and so I always wanted to run with the big kids. And for me to run with the big kids, they'd be like, "All right, well, you got to go beat that kid, go beat that dude up right there."
Yep.
They would just, throw me in the ring. I was fighting all the time. That
Yep.
was like my way of getting approval,
Exactly.
and so it began to. I would fight so much that that was my way of validation, and that's why I felt like as soon as I meet somebody or wherever I go, when I go somewhere new, they need to see what I can do with
Yep.
these, because that's how I earn my respect.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man, but a
Looking
kid shouldn't
back
have to
on
go.
it, looking back on,
Yeah,
I see it, I see it. But
yeah.
that's the environment, and that's the mental traumas. Those are the things that we're speaking about.
Mhm,
Their environments, and
mhm,
you hit it on the head, man. You hit when you said that's how you felt validated because
mhm,
that's how we were taught.
mhm,
We didn't well, talk about what, man. We used to do put this stick on my shoulder, knock it off. That's my mother. It's
mhm,
time to
mhm,
go, man.
mhm, mhm.
It's time.
Yep.
I mean, as crazy as it sounds, just it was
Mhm,
crazy, man. You look at
mhm.
me stepping on people's shoes. You fighting,
Oh,
man.
that was it. That
Oh
was it,
man, you scuff these
man.
shoes up, Doc. It's go time, and it's just
Yeah,
like it's crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy that if you sit back and be like, because a lot of stuff for me is been compartmentalized. Not saying I
Mhm,
don't remember,
mhm,
but I'm so far away from it that
mhm,
when I hear it, it's like,
mhm,
oh man, it brings back, it brings
mhm,
back, it brings back.
mhm,
But yeah, I
mhm,
mean, it's crazy because some people have never left their environment, even though they're not in
mhm,
the same place, but they are there
mhm.
mentally.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, yeah. And when I go back in those environments, I have to quickly. I got to realize where I'm at,
you
and
do.
I gotta kind of
Remind
conduct my
yourself.
yeah conduct myself in a certain way, And yeah, man, it's just, and it goes back to, as we wrap this subject up, is like, I always say, I could take a kid from the projects or from the hood or whatnot, and then I could take a kid in the suburbs, right? And say in Orange County, I'm talking California's
Mm-hmm.
lingo, and I can switch those two kids. And I guarantee you it's going to be a 95% chance that they're going to switch roles. That kid that was growing up violent, beating up people, robbing, now he's going to be a model citizen because
Yep.
that's what he grew up doing. I always
Yep.
say it's the same thing with a dog.
That's
I
it.
could take a pit bull and or any dog for that matter, but people would
Mm-hmm.
know they relate fighting with pit bulls and treat them with love and care. You see what I'm saying? Remember, it's the
Nicest
same thing
dog
with
in the
the
world.
like,
Nicest
yeah,
dog
same
in the world.
same thing when that Michael Vick situation happened, and it was in the dogs that they rescued, and you
Mm-hmm.
see them years later, and these dogs, loving dogs, they retrained them because they
Mm-hmm.
changed environments. But I take that same dog and I put him in that environment where he doesn't, because they kept him in dog houses, cages. They don't see anybody, so they train them every day to attack, be violent, and that's what they're gonna do because that's what they were trained to do. It's environment, man. It's everything in it. And, as we again as we wrap this up, you know, in a nutshell, the people you're around, like they always say, if you're around 10 broke individuals, you're gonna be number 11. If you're around 5 people who smoke dope, you probably gonna be number 6. Or whatever the case may be, whatever they're doing. And so I just encourage people, whatever you inspire to be, put yourself around those type of people. Cause I mean, I put myself, and I'm gonna say I put myself, I think, God has blessed me to be around some amazing individuals, and it really changed my mindset. Um, Here again, seeing, because you look at it and you're like, oh man, this person has that. Maybe I can do that.
Right.
If he's a millionaire, then why can't I be a millionaire?
Right.
Or whatever it is to be. He has a loving family, and doing traveling. That's how that's a whole nother topic. But you and I both can relate to that. How we started traveling,
Yep.
being around the right individuals. You start traveling. It's time like you go on a trip, like, oh man, because where we grew up, where we from, we didn't grow up traveling.
Nah.
You didn't grow up traveling,
Nah.
not like that. Now we weren't going
Nah.
in on. No, nowadays, man, these kids, man, before they 10, they didn't been on probably 20 trips.
Yep.
Jamaica,
Yep.
Bali, Mexico, all inclusives.
Yep.
I didn't go my first all inclusive. I think I was like probably like 34 or something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, I've been cheating myself,
Right. Right.
So yeah, man, environment is everything, man. If yeah, you can't expect to accomplish greatness if you're not around great people. It
Absolutely.
is what it is, right?
And I have to say this, Scott, and nothing towards you, but for whoever's listening to this, I don't want y'all to think we bashing Michael Vick. It was something that he compared it because like, we ain't gonna tear down another black man on this show.
No,
The thing
no.
is, that was no. I just cause people be like, oh man, Mick, Vic did what he did. He paid
Mhm,
his dues. Now he's the
mhm,
head coach of Norfolk State, and I'm wishing him
mhm,
nothing but the best. So for
mhm,
anybody who see this, don't come to us with no foolishness.
mhm. Well, you know what? And Mike Vick said this, like when they asked him about this situation, when it came to a head, he didn't know any better.
Right.
What did he say? I grew up as
That's
a
what I grew
kid
up in. That's what I grew up doing.
watching people
Like
fight pit
dogs.
bulls, fight
Yep.
dogs. He
Yep.
grew up doing that. In my hood, that's what people did. We didn't do it because my parents just didn't condone
Right.
that. And but at the same time, when you're in the projects and that's all people do when you grow up doing, it's a sport.
It's a sport.
And I think that's what a lot of people, he caught a lot of flack and ridicule at the time, and he's rebuilt his image
Right.
and whatnot. But that's what he was like, people, it's very easy for a person to sit back and ridicule a kid that grew up in the projects for what he's doing in his actions.
Right. That's
When you
all he
didn't grow up,
knows.
that's all he knows,
That's all he knows. That's
right?
all he knows. Yeah.
But
That's
now,
all
but
he or
now,
she knows.
yeah, you put him in. Now he surrounded himself with the right people. Tony Dungy, he got a chance to play for Andy Reid.
Absolutely.
Now he's getting a head coaching job. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see. you know, what Mike Vick. Always been about Mike Vick. I mean, who
Wow.
hasn't? Man,
Who
you
hasn't?
know,
Yeah,
but
he's
yeah,
yeah,
we always want to
totally
see him
agree.
win. I always want to see him win, man. So I look forward to see him, and then also my my fellow uh Long Beach native uh
Oh, Deshaun. Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, yeah,
Deshaun
yeah,
Jackson, right?
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he had Delaware State,
Yep, Delaware State.
right?
Yep.
So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys do. He brought he's brought Clinton Portis on the staff too, which is a guy I played with, in Washington with the Redskins,
Hmm.
now the Commanders, and so I'm rooting for these guys. I'm rooting for these guys,
Absolutely.
man.
And Reggie
Yeah, definitely.
Barlow, former Alabama State wide receiver head coach, also in the XFL. He just
Mhm.
got the Tennessee State head job. So
Oh
congratulations
yeah,
to him. Yep.
because
Eddie George.
Eddie George,
Yeah,
where did he
moved
go?
on.
Yeah, he moved on. He got
I don't know where he went,
it
but
was a bigger school. It was a
yeah, it
bigger
was a
school.
bigger school.
I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah.
but yeah, and in doing
Mm-hmm.
that, so man, that takes us to our another topic, man. Mental.
Mm-hmm.
Our
Yeah.
mental health, man, our mental
Mm-hmm.
health and our mental health and the environment, it ties, hand in hand,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, of unfortunately, this is a major topic too, when you're dealing, say for instance, if you're in a domestic, um, a violent or domestic violence household, you're
Mm-hmm.
used to the screaming, you're used to, whatever is going on, the misunderstandings, the non-communicative,
Mm-hmm.
um, not the socially adapt where you can be
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, but most of those times when kids or stuff come out of those environments, they become what
Mm-hmm.
they see,
What they see.
and
Yeah.
the analogy that I use for everything, and a lot of times, if your whole life somebody told you 2 + 2 was 5, who could tell you
Mm-hmm.
different? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. And I think
Yep.
with that environment, and like you said, if you took a kid from the hood, put him in the suburbs, and vice versa, I, mentally, it takes so much to peel those layers back.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally and emotionally, it takes so much to even recognize, because you don't even realize what you're doing because it's second nature.
Second nation.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you wake up. If you used to garden yourself, you're gonna get your Roscoe, you're gonna do what you need to do. It's a certain way you move, a certain way
Mm-hmm.
you pay attention. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I think for anybody, you know, mental health is such a big deal right now,
Mm-hmm.
because so much is happening right now in the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Sure.
with new administration, with rules and things that are changing right in front of your eyes, with
Mm-hmm.
things being banned, things being taken away,
Mm-hmm.
workers losing their jobs,
Mm-hmm.
so many people are affected by this, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how many will rebound,
Yeah, for
because they
sure.
won't have the resources. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, man. It's definitely mental health is a definitely real thing. I'm we're looking forward. Um, in a couple weeks, uh, we'll be launching an episode with Miss Bree Sutherland. She's out in the Spokane, Washington area, and she's a sports mental psychologist, and which is a huge field right now and growing field, because a lot of people don't realize the pressures that a lot of these athletes feel, and the anxiety I'm saying they're going through. We went through it,
I
but
went through it.
we just dealt with it. We didn't,
Yeah.
we just, I saw a thing I saw yesterday. Um, shit, this I can't think of her name. She won the 200 at the Olympics this past year.
Hmm.
Young
She's from
lady,
California.
yeah, very pretty,
Yeah, she's from California.
pretty
Got the
hair.
long hair. Yeah, I know you're talking
Yeah,
about.
her. I
Yeah.
can't think of her name right now. Unfortunately, sorry about that. But she said before the Olympics, she was like, did she say she wrote down? Yeah, she said she probably wrote down like 500 times every day. I will be the Olympic champion. I will be a Olympic. And she would just recite that to herself. And it's funny, man. And it's. I was talking to my daughter. She had a competition a few weeks ago, um, and she was like, she was saying all the the girls in this competition are really good. I said, that's what it is. When you get to a certain level, everyone's good. You're competing at a national
Absolutely.
level. What you expect? You're gonna be slouches? You're not a
Nope.
slouch. And so, that's one thing I've been working with her on is positive affirmations. And like I would, I made her. I was like, so it was funny that whole week before. I kept making her say, "I will. I'm a champion. I'm gonna take first place." And she was like, "I don't want to say." I made her say it.
Mm-hmm.
Just I made her say it almost in a jokingly way, but
Right.
I kept making her say it. Jackie, when I say she went out there and she killed it. She got four because they in gymnastics they have the uneven bar, the vault, floor routine, and beam. She four gold medals. So she won 5 overall and first overall. Best competition she's ever had. Like she mashed it. And I said, man, I gotta start doing that more often. Making
Absolutely.
her speak positive affirmations. Because
Absolutely.
I told her because she was like, oh, I don't, these girls. I said, look, when I was playing football, and even now, me playing flag football and touch football, I've always, and I know you used to do, the night before the game because we watched all the film. We
Exactly.
know certain plays. Like I'm gonna make a play right here. I'm playing these plays in my head of me making these plays, me
Yep.
being great. You
Yep.
got to do that, man. You have
You have
to.
to.
You have to. And so definitely I'm excited for us to launch that episode so people can get a really good perspective on how they how sports psychologists is how they're working with different individuals. And it's definitely it's a huge field. And I wish here again, I wish we had that sort of thing when we were coming up, because I had dealing with all sorts of anxieties. Um yeah, it's like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to launch that episode and helping young athletes, and maybe more of them will connect with, mental sports psychologists and get some help, get the help they need.
Absolutely. Gabby Thomas. That was her name. It
Gabby
just came.
Thomas,
Gabby
Gabby.
Thomas. This is when you said, I was like, but no, I want to say congratulations to your daughter, man. And I said, when she won, congratulations as well. But honestly, that's, man, I'm gonna say this. Like, one of the things that I've paid attention to, and I've just never said anything, but we've talked about it. That's the power of a parent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the power of a parent. And that's why when people are, I'm looking at Shador Sanders right now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at how the media trying to drag him. Oh, he's arrogant. Oh, this and he's that. No, man. His
Mm-hmm.
father has prepared him for this.
Mm-hmm.
His father has prepared
Mm-hmm.
him for this moment. The
Mm-hmm.
ridicule, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
flash is. Who was the flashiest football player you've ever seen?
Deion
Deion Sanders.
Deion
Deion
Sanders.
Sanders, who was one of the best that ever done it, if not the best that ever done it.
Deion Sanders. But
So
you
his
saw him on
target.
draft.
That's
You
what I'm
saw him on
saying.
draft day. He had all them
Yeah,
chains
yeah,
on.
had a Jerry Curl dressed,
That
dressed out,
fool.
mama
That
over
fool's.
there. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. They
And
said,
he
yeah.
said,
He said everybody said we good. He said we good. They asked him. Where you did you think you would go get drafted where you were? And they said, he said, yeah. He said I got scared for a minute. I thought Detroit was gonna get me.
yeah,
Thank God. He said, thank God they didn't. He said if they would have drafted me, they would have to pay me so much money. They would have had to put me on layaway.
that's what I'm telling you.
You know.
So you're talking about a brand. You
A
talk about
brand.
a brand that's been
Mm-hmm.
around for almost 40 years. Now
Yeah.
he has kids that are part of that brand, that namesake,
Mm-hmm.
and you are ridiculing him because of that. He's so mentally strong that it just rolls off his back.
Yeah.
What does he have to prove, Scott? He done went to Jackson State. He played well, freshman of the year accolades, threw for 35 or 3,700. Go back, win the championship, player of the year, go
Mm-hmm.
to the Big 12 with
Well,
Colorado.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Mm-hmm.
show out. Okay, they may say, well, he only won 4 games his first year, but he showed you
Mm-hmm.
I can handle this. He showed you the mental toughness. He
He ain't right
showed
now.
not at all. Not
Mm-mm.
at all. And he could have
Mm-mm.
easily folded the tent. And that's what
Mm-mm.
people don't understand. The power of a parent, like you said, you tell your daughter, hey, baby, listen, this is you. You belong
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
This is your time. why wouldn't they do great?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
Hmm.
congratulations on that, man, for real.
Hmm. Yeah. No, man. So it's like I said, um, yeah, I'm excited to see she competes again next weekend. And I think one more meet after that, and they have nationals, which are the
Hmm.
national meet this year is in Calgary, which is only a couple hours away. So I'm excited I get to, you know, see that and not spend a whole bunch of money. Yeah, because I mean, shoots, man, gymnastics export. That's why I mean, let's be here again. That's why you don't see too many African American women, young ladies in the sport. Um, it's expensive.
It is.
I mean, it's
It is.
expensive. I mean, it's no secret that not to throw a pity party, but us as a race have been behind the eight ball financially, financial literacy for a number of reasons, which we don't need to get into.
Hmm.
And so it's a sport here again that you're going to see predominantly Caucasian young ladies partake in.
Hmm.
And because of that, you just don't see a lot of African American. You're starting to see more and more though.
Correct.
Obviously, when you have someone like a Simone Biles,
Hmm.
there's a young lady from she was on the Olympic team and she went to UCLA. Made a lot of headway, and that's where people see people like that, and you have because when we grew up in the hood. That's all we did was flip.
That's all we
We
did.
flip. We
Flip on
that's a lot.
mattresses, man,
I flip
everything.
off the backflips off the
Flip
roof.
off the roof, off a hill, no matter what.
Anything.
And I'm gonna share with you, you're absolutely right, but I'm not gonna lie. I used to want to be a gymnast.
We
I'm
all
not gonna,
did.
yeah.
We all
So
did. Yeah.
my favorite, it was a guy. His name was Chris Joyner back
Hmm.
home. He
Hmm.
actually did the Olympic trials,
Hmm.
so he was someone that I followed. Man, Chris was phenomenal with the
Hmm.
rings. And then I had a crush on Dominique Dawes. I thought she was the
Yeah, I remember.
cutest. I
Yeah,
thought
she
she was the
was cute.
cutest thing.
Yeah,
You know what
she
I'm
was
saying? So
beautiful.
I was, oh man, I thought she was just,
Mhm.
Mary Lou Retton. But when I saw Dominique Dawes, somebody that I can relate to,
Yeah.
oh man,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
once
Hmm.
again, the relatability, the opportunities, so yeah, shout out to that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, man. But yeah, no, man. It's like I said, man. It's great to catch up, get back acclimated, and here again, and really spread the love and show everybody what Dreams Podcast is all about. Locker room to reality. That's one thing we always talk about, man. It's not an easy transition. When having that structure your whole life, and now you're on your own.
Yep.
And I think that's what people got to realize is, we were talking about this the other day, you and I, and it was like if we were talking about like because we're like moving, like if I'm the difference is what people I realize, like when I was playing in the NFL, I just we had you have what you call a player development, um, a guy in the player. That was the role, player development,
Hmm.
and that person's job is to make the players' lives easy as possible because they want you focusing on football. And it's like always, you looking for an apartment or you want to get a house. I want to get a house. How much you want to spend? I want to spend this amount of money. Okay, we have a realtor that deals with us. We'll set up a meeting. She'll bring you around to a couple different places to take a look at, and you meet her. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. We're simple. Especially me when I was playing. I was single. I ain't just give me. I buy a townhouse.
Right.
That's all I need. I mean, and
What it was.
but yeah, like you have people to do everything for you. It's sad. I mean, it is what it is, right? No matter what it was, man, I need to get a car. I was telling that story the other day. I was saying, my first uh wasn't a big purchase, but my first car purchase as a professional athlete, I bought a black Camaro, and I was driving, and I was living in Orlando, Florida, and I seen it, a black Camaro. I was like, damn, I was like, oh, I want one of those. Called my agent. We had the same agent, Jeff Guerrero. Call him. Jeff, man, I saw this Camaro, man. I want to get one of those. And he's like, oh man, my brother owns dealerships. Cool, man. He put him in touch with me. They sent me the paperwork. I filled it out. Back then we faxed it back. 3 days later,
Car delivered.
car delivered. Hey, they pull that thing out. It was in a I'll never forget, it was in a closed
Trailer.
trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So it came out, it was already clean. I thought it was gonna be dirty, but it was in a closed trailer.
Right.
So that detail was still, ooh. I jumped on that I-4.
Gone.
Yeah, we rolling, baby. You couldn't
I
tell me
remember.
nothing. You
I
couldn't tell me
remember.
nothing.
I remember
So
when I
yeah,
moved to
man.
Houston, you drove the Camaro. I remember that. You came up to
Yeah.
Houston. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, man, it's just like you said, man. With athletes, that's what people got to realize. I think that's the one of the probably the toughest transitions because of that, because
Mm-hmm.
you're catered to
Mm-hmm.
so much, that when you get in the real world, now it's just you. You don't have nobody catering to you, helping you. Don't be wrong. You're gonna still have some people in your corner, but
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's important too to build those relationships with people and connections, right? Like they say, your net worth is your network.
Mm-hmm.
Your
And
network is
vice
your net
versa.
worth, and
Yes.
vice versa,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
and, and so, yeah, man, it's just here again. That's probably I would say the most for me. That was the most difficult part, learning to fend for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody going to kill your food for you no more. You got to go kill it
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you want
But
to eat.
I think also a major component in there is as the whoever the person may be, whether it's an athlete, whether it's somebody in business, you got to want to learn the process.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie, I had to learn it because after I walked away from my agency, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, and I started doing my own contracts, and from there I
Mm-hmm.
really had to pay attention to the nuances of okay, how
Mm-hmm.
you do this and how you do this, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest thing. I never wanted to be in a room where someone's talking over my head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the worst. That's the
Oh
worst
man,
feeling.
it's the worst. And I'm like, nah, nah.
Mm-mm.
So for me, and I think that's why I just became honestly a lifelong learner. I think that's why I enjoy learning so much because, and I've
Mm-hmm.
done a lot of learning, but I don't want, I don't never want to be in a position when you saying something to me I don't quite comprehend or I
Mm-hmm.
can't understand, or you saying something that I've never heard of. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Yeah.
think now the advantages that a lot of these, athletes may have is
Mm-hmm.
they don't have any excuses not to learn it.
Mm-hmm. True. It's
You know
out
what I'm
there.
saying? It's out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's out
Mm-hmm.
there where we were in our years. You're talking about, when 95, 93, 94, 95, when internet was just coming up. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
You only saw news in your local area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the social media platforms, man, you can learn anything. YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
you can learn anything. You can see anything with all of these help sites, the Khan Academies, all of
Mm-hmm.
these things. There's no reason why you should be stagnant in your
Mm-hmm.
education and
True.
or your business.
True.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure, man. I think in everything, man. I think that's a perfect note to end out on, which is a part of dreams, is maturation. That's what the M
Yes.
stands for. You have to continue to grow. I don't care what it is. Whereas
Yes.
it's business, like you said, continue to learn your relationships, your marriage, your friendships, continue to grow. Put in that work, continue to grow. Because nothing stagnant lasts. You got to continue to grow, man. And for you guys who it's your first time tuning in, right? Dreams podcast, discipline, respect, education, accountability, maturation, which we just talked about, success, locker room to reality, making those adjustments and to real life. And so, as we wrap up, man, um, like I said earlier, just looking forward to continue to spread love and help individuals put out some great content. Like I always say, this is like we took a step back, for our mental health. But it really, I was sharing this with Jackie the other day. I said, I can't wait till we get back to shooting, because I feel like I have more structure, I have more discipline in my life when we're shooting. I feel good because honestly, this is like a therapy session for us as well. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. So yeah, no, it's just look like I said, man, looking forward to continue to grow and never stop growing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, I'll let you wrap it up, man. We can close this thing out.
No, man. I mean, I just second what you said. It's like I said, it's a pleasure being back on the air with my guy, man. And
Mhm.
please, for those who are, like he said, those who just joined us, stay tuned. Go back. You can check us out on YouTube. We have Dreams Podcast on YouTube. You can see our previous shows. But
Mhm.
this season, man, we're gonna have some pretty good stuff, and it's
Mhm.
all gonna be genuine. It's all gonna be things that we know that our
Mhm.
community needs.
Mhm.
It's going to be things that it's going to be very relevant to a lot of subjects and a lot of topics that people are going through on a daily basis. And we
Mhm.
just thank you. You know, that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. We just want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for allowing us to share with you our opinion, our views. Nothing is etched in stone. This is just like one of my good friends, and I'm one of his good friends, and we're talking, but we're talking
Mhm.
relevant subjects. We're bringing relevant topics to to the masses. And are we going to say all the right things all the time? No. Is everybody going to agree with us all the time? No. But what we are doing, we are very aware of what is going on. We're very aware of the message that we're putting out, and we're proud of Dreams Podcast. So for
Mhm.
those who are watching, for those who will continue to grow with us, as Scott said, I thank you. And let's enjoy this next season. That's all I
Mhm.
got.
Definitely, man. Hey, another Hump Day edition. Dreams
Absolutely.
Podcast, Locker Room to Reality. And hey, we didn't, and just to show you how, we're so aligned. We didn't even plan this. We both got on all black, right? We didn't even plan this. That's how we get on though. So
Absolutely.
yeah, man. So yeah,
Absolutely,
man.
man.
You guys have a great day, and looking forward to connecting you guys the next Hump Day. Right.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Much love, and you guys, we're out of here.
Absolutely. Peace.